Hi there. Again, my name is Robert Gorgoglione, and we're going to continue where we left off on Towards Socialist America. And we were beginning. We ended up dropping off, and we were talking about William Z. Foster's Towards Soviet America. And so, as I was saying the last time, in the ending of the video, and talked about how William Z. Foster was advocating nationalization or socialization of all factories and industry and national parks and land and resources, minerals and so forth. And then he goes on and he says here, there will also be social insurance against unemployment, old age, that's Social Security, free medical services, that's Medicaid and socialized universal health care. All houses and other buildings will be socialized. What that means is, if they're not directly owned, they will be so regulated that in effect the state will own them, even though you get the deed for the house. And it includes things like zoning and safety regulations and so forth. And then he goes on and he says, superstition, that means religion, will vanish in the realm of science. Class ideologies will give place to scientific materialistic philosophy, such as humanism. The schools, colleges, and universities will be grouped under a National Department of Education. We now have that. I think it was Jimmy Carter that brought that about. Ronald Reagan promised to get rid of it, but he didn't. He only made it bigger. So much for being a conservative. Studies will be revolutionized, being cleansed of all religious and patriotic and other features of middle-class ideology. Science will become materialistic, hence truly scientific. God will vanish from the laboratory, or be banished from the laboratories, as well as from the schools. There will be a great organization of science backed by the full power of the government. Sound familiar? Now, we see here that prayer was taken out of the schools, and laws have been passed where the teacher is not allowed to say that this is morally right and this is morally wrong. And so God and Jesus Christ are banished from the public schools when they started getting rid of prayer. So we see here fulfillments of the 1932 book published by William Z. Foster, the chairman of the Communist Party at that time. He did this in 1932, and beginning with FDR's New Deal to the present, we've seen a fulfillment of the plans that William Z. Foster and the Communist Party had. And then to come to the end of what he's saying here, a National Department of Health, that is, Department of Health and Human Services, will be set up. A free medical service will be established. Again, universal socialized health care. And by the way, Vladimir Lenin said that socialized medicine is the keystone in the arch of the socialist state. I'll say that again. Socialized medicine is the keystone in the arch of the socialist state. So that goes to show you how dangerous national health care is. And keeping in mind that Romney had Romney Care, which was socialized medicine in Massachusetts, and that was used as a basis for setting up the national health care, we'll call it Obamacare. And you got to keep those things in mind, because that tells me that there's really no difference between the two. You don't go by what they say. For example, Mitt Romney, you don't go by what he says and promises and so forth and claims. You go by what he does, and also you go by what he has done in the past. He may say, well, I've changed my position now, but do you want to take a chance and believe him? As far as I'm concerned, 99% of the politicians out there are nothing but liars. And all you got to do is see what's happened after they get in office over the last 80 years, and they brought our nation to the point of absolute disaster, in spite of their promises. Now we come to the National Socialist Party platform, that is the Nazis. And again, Nazism means the National Socialist Workers' Party. Let me see here. Actually, yeah, okay, I got it. And they got a 1922 platform they had when the Nazi Party first started. And these are the key areas or certain parts of the Nazi Party platform, which I'm going to quote. and see if they don't sound very familiar. Provide work and means of livelihood for the citizens of the state. We demand an extensive development of provision for old age, Social Security. The state must undertake a thorough reconstruction of our national system of education with the aim of giving every capable and industrious citizen the benefits of a higher education. We demand educational facilities for specially gifted children and poor parents at the expense of the state. 4. The state must concern itself with raising the standard of health in the nation. Again, national health care, Medicare, Medicaid. The party, that's number 5, the party is convinced that our nation can only achieve permanent well-being from within on the principle of placing the common interest before self-interest. What that really means, if you interpret it, special interests and group rights replace individual rights. If the individual is not protected in his liberty, then nobody is safe. If you put the group before the individual, then that means that individuals have to be sacrificed for the desires of the majority. And the Founding Fathers referred to that as democratic despotism or tyranny by the majority, because there's no check and balances and safety structures within the laws of the country to protect the individual in his life, his liberty, and his property. Then we have other points are that the Nazis also had gun control, registration and confiscation, and they had federal welfare, they had daycare centers, and even a National Endowment for the Arts. And we have all those things. The only difference between the Nazis and us is that we're not rounding up Jews. But outside of that, it's all the same, economically and politically. And then there's a man here named Stephen H. Roberts who wrote, this is a book he wrote entitled The House That Hitler Built. And this is what he says. The Fuhrer was fast establishing the total state. There was forced unionization, price fixing, a myriad of welfare programs, federal takeover of education, credit expansion, public works programs, helped to create the myth of full employment. Hitler organized that current liberal panacea, a national health service, in which care was centralized and the department was given surprisingly wide powers. It looked after the health of children, workers. It controlled the training of doctors, midwives, dentists, and chemists. That's exactly what we had today. Now, it's amazing how they'll say, well, the Nazis on the extreme right and the socialists and the communists on the extreme left. But you see, Nazism is socialism. It belongs on the extreme left with the fascists and the communists. And sorry, but also the Democrats and the Republicans. And on another video, we'll get into that and show how the Republican-Democrat parties are essentially socialists. In the ending, now we give Hitler the last word. We are socialists. We are enemies of today's capitalistic, that is, free enterprise system, for the exploitation of the economically weak and its unfair salaries and its seemingly evaluation of human beings according to wealth and property instead of responsibility and performance. Sounds good, doesn't it? And we are determined to destroy this system under all conditions. That's a quote taken from J. Tallinn in Adolf Hitler back in, and this is a speech from 1927 on May 1st. So the next time we do a video, we're going to show the striking similarities between the New Deal under FDR and the corporate socialists in Italy under Mussolini. Thanks.